I allowed this family into my home because they told me their son was ill with cancer and needed my help. Through the years, I helped thousands of children who were ill or in distress. These events have caused a nightmare for my family, my children, and me. I never intend to place myself in so vulnerable a position ever again. I love my community, and I have great faith in our justice system. Please keep an open mind and let me have my day in court. I deserve a fair trial like every other American citizen. I will be acquitted and vindicated when the truth is told.
Anything else you'd like to say?
No. Yes, there's something. I would love to have the public's prayers for my children and myself.
Okay, buddy, you got it.
All right.
Thanks.
I mean, I can't go into a park. I can't go to Disneyland as myself. I can't go out and walk down the street. There's crowds and bumper-to-bumper cars, and so I create my world behind my gates. Everything that I love is behind those gates. We have elephants and giraffes and crocodiles and every kind of tigers and lions, and we have busloads of kids who don't get to see those things. They come up, sick children, and enjoy it. They enjoy it in a pure, loving, fun way. It's people with a dirty mind that think like that. I don't think that way. That's not me.
And do you think people look at you and think that way today?
If they have a sick mind, yeah. And if they believe the trash they read in newspapers, yeah. And it's not, remember something, just because it's in print doesn't mean it's the gospel. People write negative things because they feel that's what sells. Good news to them doesn't sell.
And Jackson says his relationship with this boy he first met a year ago was positive. He says he was determined to help him with his battle against cancer. So when he would come over, what would he do? What would you do?
I'll tell you exactly. When I first saw him, he was totally bald-headed, white as snow from the chemotherapy, very bony, looked anorexic, no eyebrows, no eyelashes, and he was so weak I would have to carry him from the house to the game room or push him in a wheelchair to try to give him a childhood, a life, because I felt bad, because I never had that chance too as a child, you know. And so I know it felt like in that way, not being sick, but not having had a childhood. So my heart go out to those children. I feel their pain.
Jackson says he tried to help in the healing process by taking the boy around the grounds of Neverland to Jackson's favorite places.
He had never really climbed a tree, so I had this tree that I have at Neverland. I call it my giving tree, because I like to write songs up there. I've written many songs up there. So I said, you have to climb a tree. That's part of boyhood. You just got to do it. And I helped him up, and once he went up the tree, we looked down on the branches, and it was so beautiful. It was magical. And he loved it, to give him a chance to have a life, you know, because he was told he was going to die. They told him, they told his parents to prepare for his funeral. That's how bad it was. And I put him on a program. I've helped many children doing this. I put them on a mentor program.
The boy, whose name and face we're not revealing, has credited Michael Jackson's friendship and support with helping him to battle his cancer.
Isn't that great? Not sick at all. No more cancer.
And last February, in a British documentary that was filmed before the boy alleged he was sexually molested, he said that he had stayed overnight at Jackson's home many times and had slept in his bedroom.
There was one night I stood in there, I asked him if I could stay in his bedroom. He let me stay in the bedroom. And I was like, Michael, you can sleep on the bed. And he was like, no, you sleep on the bed, sleep on the bed. We're like, no, you sleep on the bed. And then he finally said, okay, if you love me, you can sleep on the bed. I was like, oh, man. And so I finally slept on the bed.
That comment, along with Michael Jackson's startling confession that he had shared his bed many times with children, spurred an investigation last February by the Los Angeles County Department of Children and Family Services, which interviewed the boy and his mother to determine whether he had been sexually molested by Michael Jackson. According to an agency memo, the child denied any form of sexual abuse and the investigation by the Sensitive Case Unit concluded the allegations of neglect and sexual abuse to be unfounded. Over the next several months, relations between the boy's family and Michael Jackson deteriorated. According to sources close to the family, the boy's mother had suspicions that Jackson was serving alcohol to her 13-year-old son, who was still suffering from cancer. Eventually, she took her suspicions to the district attorney, and that led to a full-scale investigation by his office and the Santa Barbara County Sheriff.
An arrest warrant for Mr. Jackson has been issued on multiple counts of child molestation. The bail amount on the warrant has been set at $3 million.
If Michael Jackson's watching this right now, what's your message?
Get over here and get checked in. We would encourage him to turn himself in and cooperate with law enforcement.
With that announcement 2 weeks ago, Michael Jackson's future and his career were in serious jeopardy.
At 12:05 today, Michael Jackson was taken into custody.
He surrendered to authorities and was booked on child molestation charges of lewd and lascivious conduct with a child. What was going through your mind when you're taken into a police station in handcuffs to have a mug shot taken that you know was going to be shown around the world?
They did it to try and belittle me, to try to take away my pride. But I went through the whole system with them, and at the end, I wanted the public to know that I was okay, even though I was hurting.
What happened when they arrested you? What did they do to you?
They were supposed to go in and just check fingerprints and do the whole thing that they do when they take somebody in. They manhandled me very roughly. My shoulder is dislocated, literally. It's hurting me very badly. I'm in pain all the time. See this arm? This is as far as I can reach it. Same with this side over here.
Because of what happened at the police station?
Yeah, at the police station. And what they did to, if you saw what they did to my arms, it was very bad what they did. It was very swollen. I don't want to say.
But how
You'll see.
We were given this photograph said to be taken after Michael Jackson was released on bail. Jackson says the swelling above his wrist is where the police handcuffed him. How did they do it? I mean, what did they do?
With the handcuffs, the way they tied them too tight behind my back.
Behind your back?
Yeah, and they put it in a certain position, knowing that it's going to hurt and affect my back. Now I can't move. It keeps me from sleeping at night. I can't sleep at night.
And Jackson says there was more.
One time I asked to use the restroom, and they said, sure, it's right around the corner there. Once I went in the restroom, they locked me in there for like 45 minutes. There was doo-doo feces thrown all over the walls, the floor, the ceiling, and it stunk so bad. Then one of the policemen came by the window and he made a sarcastic remark. He said, does it smell good enough for you in there? How do you like the smell? Is it good? And I just simply said, it's all right. It's okay. So I just sat there and waited.
For 45 minutes?
Yeah, for 45 minutes, about 45 minutes. And then one cop would come by and say, oh, you'll be out in a second. You'll be out in a second. Then there would be another 10 minutes added on, then another 15 minutes added on. They did this on purpose.
What about Jackson's allegations? Was he mistreated? Did the police injure his arm and shoulder? Did they lock him in a bathroom for 45 minutes? To get answers to those questions, we made repeated calls to both the sheriff's office and the office of the district attorney. They declined our requests for an interview and referred us to the statement on their website which says about allegations of mistreatment, that is not true. It was the sheriff's deputies who executed the search warrant of the Neverland Ranch. How did you feel when they went into Neverland? I mean, with the search warrant. I mean, what were they looking for? What did they take?
My room is a complete wreck. My workers told me, they said, Michael, don't go in your room. They were crying on the phone, my employees. They said, if you saw your room, you would cry. I have stairs that go up to my bed. And they said, you can't even get up the stairs. The room is totally trashed. And they had 80 policemen in this room, 80 policemen in one bedroom. That's really overdoing it. And they took knives and cut open my mattresses with knives. Just cut everything open.
Did they take anything from Neverland?
I'm not sure what they took. They never gave me a list.
But you're saying that they destroyed your property?
Yes, they did. And then what they did was they made everybody that worked at the property, they locked everybody out of the house. They had the whole house to themselves to do whatever they wanted. And they totally took advantage. They went into areas they weren't supposed to go into, like my office. They didn't have search warrants for those places. And they totally took advantage. And the room is a total wreck, they told me. And I don't think I want to see it. I'm not ready to see it yet.
So you haven't been back there?
I've been back there, but not in my bedroom. I won't live there ever again. I'll visit Neverland. It's a house now. It's not a home anymore. I'll only visit there. What time is it? Because I'm hurting. I don't feel good.
In a moment, Michael Jackson tells us why he still believes it's appropriate to have children sleep in his bed. And he lashes out at the family whose child he's accused of sexually molesting. More of Michael Jackson's story when we return. This is not the first time Michael Jackson has been accused of child molestation. 10 years ago, he was accused of sexually abusing another young boy. However, after that boy refused to testify, and after Jackson paid the boy's family millions of dollars to settle a civil lawsuit, Jackson was never charged. Although the family in the current case against him has filed no lawsuit and says it does not intend to, Michael Jackson is still suspicious of their motives.
Greed, money, somewhere greed got in there and somebody, I can't quite say, but it has to do with money. It's Michael Jackson. Look what we have here. We get money out of this. That's exactly what happened.
What I don't understand is why today, and I know you say it's money, but who? I mean, why would he turn around and say, Michael Jackson sexually molested me, if it weren't true?
Because parents have power over children. They feel they have to do what their parents say. But money is the root of all evil, as you know. The love of money is the root of all evil. And this is a sweet child, and to see him turn like this isn't him. This is not him.
So you don't think this comes from him, this comes from his parents?
No, this is not him. No, I know his heart.
Jackson said that even if he could, he would never settle this case, as he did when similar charges were made in 1993. So if you were innocent, why would you pay? I mean, to keep it quiet. I mean, why not go into court and fight for your good name?
I'm not allowed to talk on that.
Sure.
There we go.
Jackson's attorney, Mark Garagos, told me that if I wanted an answer to that question, I'd have to ask him.
I mean, remember what happened to him 10 years ago. He was humiliated. He went through where somebody was examining him, was photographing him, was having him, humiliating him in the worst way in terms of looking at his private parts and photographing his private parts. And he was subjected to some of the most just intrusive kinds of things that you could ever imagine. I can only try to put myself into that situation and say, look, if money could make that situation go away, maybe that was the calculus then. I don't know, and I don't want to second guess it.
But what you end up with is the public perception that this has happened not once, this has happened twice, that young boys have come forward to accuse him of sexual molestation over the last 10 years. And he has made public comments about how he enjoys sharing his bed with children. Can you understand how the public might feel that, hey, maybe there's something here, there's a lot of smoke?
Well, look, there's a lot of smoke, but I think it's a lot of the people who blow the smoke are twisting what's happened. I understand when people say now there's somebody else who came forward, but I think, in all fairness, most people get it. Most people understand that this case is not about anything but money.
We asked the mother of the accuser who made these latest allegations to tell us her side of the story, but she declined and would not authorize anyone else to speak on her behalf.
That British documentary last February, which you didn't like.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
You said in that documentary that many children have slept in your bedroom. You said,
Yes.
and I'm going to quote here, why can't you share your bed? The most loving thing to do is to share your bed with someone.
Yes.
As we sit here today, do you still think that it's acceptable to share your bed with children?
Of course. Of course, why not? If you're going to be a pedophile, if you're going to be Jack the Ripper, if you're going to be a murderer, it's not a good idea. That I'm not. That's how we were raised. And I didn't sleep in the bed with the child. Even if I did, it's okay. I slept on the floor. I gave the bed to the child.
But given all that you've been through,
Yeah.
given the allegations, given the innuendo, why would you put yourself in a position where something like this could happen again?
Well, I'm always more cautious, but I would never stop helping and loving people the way Jesus said to. He said, continue to love, always love, bring on the children, imitate the children, not childish, but childlike.
That may sound naive, but Jackson attorney Mark Garrigo says they did take precautions.
They were at all times during that February 7th to March 10th period of time, whenever Michael was there was always a third party around, always.
What about the allegation that some kind of intoxicating agent, said to be wine, was given to this child to make him more pliable?
Ludicrous. I mean, it's ludicrous on its face. There are in excess of 100 employees at any one time at that ranch. There is full-time security at that ranch. There are people who are there at all times, day and night, 24/7, who are specifically instructed to make sure that people don't do that. The kids are nowhere near alcohol or liquor.
You're a parent. You've got 3 children.
Yes.
Would you allow your children to sleep in the bed with a grown man who was not a relative, or to sleep in the bedroom?
Sure. If I know that person, trust them, and love them. That's happened many times with me when I was little.
Would you, as a parent, allow your children to sleep in the same bedroom with someone who has the suspicions and allegations that have been made against you and about you today? Would you allow that?
Someone...
If you knew someone who had the same kind of allegations.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Would you let your children
My children?
sleep in that man's bedroom?
If I knew the person personally, because I know how the press is, I know how people can twist the truth. If I knew the person personally, absolutely yes. Absolutely. I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Do you know how this looks to a lot of people? I mean, do you understand that?
How does what look?
How the fact that you...
Know why people think sex. They're thinking sex. My mind doesn't run that way. When I see children, I see the face of God. That's why I love them so much. That's what I see.
Do you know any other man your age, a 45-year-old man, who shares his bedroom with children?
Of course. Not for sex. No, that's wrong.
Well, let me say, from my perspective, my experience, I don't know any 45-year-old men who are not relatives of the children who share their bedroom with other children.
Well, what's wrong with sharing your bed? I didn't say I slept in the bed. Even if I did sleep in the bed, it's okay. I am not going to do anything sexual to a child. It's not where my heart is. I would slit my wrist first. I would never do anything like that. That's not Michael Jackson, I'm sorry. That's someone else.
And the Michael Jackson of today is not the Michael Jackson who, at one time, was the #1 pop star in the world. His Thriller CD topped the charts, while his latest didn't crack the top 10.
What has this done to your career?
What has it done to my career?
What has it done to your career?
In what way?
How has it impacted
my album,
touring, record
my album's
sales?
#1 all over the world. all over the world. America's the only one because, I don't want to say too much.
But it's not number one in the United
It
States.
was conspiracy, yeah. I don't want to say too much. I'm done. I don't want to say much because I'm hurting. I'm really hurting.
Before Michael Jackson.
It's been almost 4 years since you've recorded or come out with a new album. How do you feel now that the album is out?
I feel rejuvenated, kind of, because after working on it so long, it's so much work. A lot of people, they're used to just seeing the outcome of work. They never see the side of the work you go through to produce the outcome. And I feel, you know, rejuvenated and happy. It's a jubilation, really, is what it is. It's like a celebration. It's like, we're done.
How long did it take to come up with, I guess you almost wrote 8 songs or 7 songs on it? How long did it take to come up with that creative process?
I don't remember. I totally don't remember. I don't even count the hours or anything. Every song is different. Sometimes it happens quickly, sometimes it happens slowly. No one can quite say what the creative process is because I have nothing to do with it almost, because it's created in space. It's God's work, not mine.
You know, talking about that, God gives us a lot of gifts a lot of times, and you've been really blessed with a tremendous amount of gifts. And yet it seems as though a lot has been required of you. Do you sometimes regret being so utterly famous?
No, sometime, only sometime. Sometimes I want to sneak into places and not have any hoopla or, you know, and it doesn't work all the time because people start and they crowd around, and which is sweet. I mean, I shouldn't complain, but
no, but you have a right to complain because everybody has a right to go out there and to just be alone. But it seems like that right isn't really given to you.
Well, it's part of the work, I would say.
How do you feel about the song Bad? We talked earlier, and I told you that I like the song Bad because it's really all about you. You are the baddest when it comes to the record industry.
Well, it is quite different from anything I've ever recorded or I've ever written. It's a bold statement to say, but I mean it in all goodwill, you know, so don't take it too seriously.
It's a good modesty, of course.
Yeah, I'm saying, it's like a way of saying you're cool, you're all right, you're tough. I'm not saying I'm like criminally bad. Of course, that's how people would take it. It's a bold statement to make.
How about the video? The video is also another thing on this album is that a lot of songs make social statements, and the video also does that too. With Bad, I know that you probably didn't experience anything like that, but my name is Daryl.
Yeah, I know.
And I grew up in Harlem in the South Bronx, and I went away to school, and I also had to deal with peer pressures. How did you come about with that whole idea of doing something like that?
Well, it wasn't really my idea. It's actually part of a true story where this kid tried to
It's my story, in a sense.
Yeah, it's your story, but the truth of what really happened, this kid, don't look at me, Frank.
Let's do that. Hold on for a second.
Yeah, don't make faces.
Now, I know that you didn't write the video, but you're telling me the story is almost like the story of my life, but you're telling me that it's based on another person.
Yes, it is. This kid who went to school upstate in the country, whatever, who is from the ghetto, and he tried to make something of his life. And he would leave his old friends behind, and when he came back on spring break or whatever, Thanksgiving break, his friends became so envious, jealous of him that they killed him. But in the film, I don't die, of course. Yeah. So it's a true story that we had taken from Time or Newsweek magazine.
Yeah.
And he is a black kid like me, and it's a sad story. But pardon?
How does that make you feel when you see those sad stories?
Oh, something like that is very sad because it's all negative. It's wrong. I think that's life, to want to grow and become more. And like you plant a seed and it grows into something beautiful, and it never dies really. I think people should be that way.
You know what? My favorite song on the album is Man in the Mirror.
Oh yeah, I like that a lot.
That's my favorite song. I tend to hold a feeling that no matter what you do in the world, it really has to start with you.
It's my philosophy too. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change.
Is it
it's so
hard to
easy.
do?
Yeah, well, people don't look at themselves honestly. They don't look at themselves and point the finger at them. It's always the other guy's fault or somebody else. You should change yourself. Look at yourself. Make better of yourself, you know?
When you look in the mirror, are you happy with what you see?
In what way?
Just when you look there, in terms of that social philosophy.
I'm never totally satisfied. I always wish the world could be a better place. No, not at all. Hopefully, you know, that's what I do with my music, bring happiness to people and to bring joy, bring some peace in their lives.
Are you a prayerful person?
Pardon?
I said, are you a prayerful type person?
Oh, yeah, I pray a lot, yeah. I see a beautiful sunset and I say, God, it's beautiful, thank you. Or a baby smile, or butterfly's wings, or anything like that, you know.
You know, on the album version of I Just Can't Stop Loving You, you make some very strong, sensuous remarks to a woman that you're lying next to.
I was in a bed when I was doing that.
Really?
Also, yeah. I was laying in the bed, the cover and everything, when I did that whole rap in the dark.
And the lyrics go, it goes, people really don't understand me.
You know, I say a lot of people misunderstand me. That's because they don't know me. I guess that's true. People believe a lot of crazy stories they read. And some is true, some is not. And
does it hurt when you see those crazy stories?
Sometimes. But it's part of the work, you know.
You ever want to lash out in any type of way and say, hey, that's not true?
Yeah, a lot of times. But why bring more attention to a thing, you know?
Is there another favorite song of mine? Is not as much as Man in the Mirror, but Liberian Girl.
Yeah.
Is there a Liberian girl in your life?
No, I wrote that at my house in the game room. I guess I was playing some pinballs or something. And the song just popped in my head. And I think I ran upstairs, put it on tape. And it became Liberian Girl. Same thing with We Are the World, We Are the Children. I didn't really, I mean, I don't know why those words came. They just came as that. We are the ones to make a brighter day, so let's start giving. I didn't think about it, just, you know, just comes.
How about, one thing that I find is like what you said, it took so long to come up with all the different songs on the album, and every song is different. You have calypso influences, you have reggae influences, you had the new cool sound with one, you have heavy metal with Dirty Diane.
I love Dirty Diane.
That's your favorite song?
One of my favorites.
Why?
Because it's a life story of a groupie. I hate to say the word groupie, but that's what it is. And it's something that I've experienced, and a lot of people who grow up on the road, like me. I mean, I don't remember not performing. And
do you feel as though you missed out on something by not remembering, not performing?
Of course, but I've gained a lot too. A lot of people never get out of their hometown and get to see other wonderful places. A lot of kids read about things that I get to see in person all over the world, in different places. So I'm so happy about that. I mean, you never can have everything.
How does it feel when you go in to do a concert somewhere and literally there are tens of thousands of people that are rushing over to you just to get a glimpse?
That's a wonderful feeling, especially when you see them smiling, and I love the fans. I think it's very sweet. I feel thankful is how I feel. I really do. I don't take any of it for granted.
What would you say, what interests you most about life?
What interests me most about life is learning, finding out new things, exploring different worlds. I'm so interested in the human anatomy now, the brain, and so many different things like that, and the bones and everything.
I know that, and you know, this is a sensitive area, but you were very much interested in the bones of the Elephant Man, John Merrick.
Yes.
Is that because of your anatomical interest?
Yes, I've been to the London School for Doctors twice, and I visited John Merrick's remains, who I feel a closeness to. I love the story of the Elephant Man. Very sad story.
Would you someday like to do maybe a remake of the movie or the play?
Maybe, but I feel it's been done so well already with David Lynch, and
Right.
I think it was John Hurt who played.
That's right, who played in the
John
movie.
Merrick, yeah. That I don't think I could contribute any better than what they've done.
The part that I like best is when, after he gains confidence, and then he's back on his way after having gone to the carny, they stole him out of the hospital. And then he's inside the subway station. And then finally he has to yell in a sigh of,
yeah, leave me alone.
leave me alone, I'm not an animal.
I'm a human being.
I'm a human being. Do we as human beings treat people as animals too many times?
I think so. Man's inhumanity to man, I mean, that's what war is all about.
Sure.
So many of the problems in the past.
Are you scared of war?
I don't think anybody likes war, in truth. No, I don't like war. I like peace. I'm a peaceful person.
Do you ever think about ever being an ambassador or anything like that? The fact that you're accepted around this whole world. You ever think about being some type of ambassador?
I feel I'm that already with my music and what I've done with music, because it breaks all barriers. I don't have to make a political statement. I do all of that with music. It breaks all language barriers and everything to all races of people. It goes all over the world. And it's fun to see kids from India or whatever country you name, you know, who know about the music.
Okay. Last question, sure. This will be about the tour. Appreciate the time. Can you hold on 1 second. Okay. Why did you choose to start your worldwide tour in Japan and not really give your fans here in America a chance to see you until the end of the year?
Well, as you remember, the Victory Tour was all American, and the rest of the world didn't get anything. So it's good to be fair, you know. And actually, I think it's more fair because the show would be much better when we get here. The worst thing to me personally to see is an opening show because, you know, it's not as tight as it can be.
Sure.
And it was something that my manager had done, and the people who work for me, wherever they book it, if I like it, I'll go. You know, and I like Japan. I've been there before.
Any apprehension about touring by yourself for the first time?
I've done so much solo work. Even when I was little, 13, solo albums, solo appearances on TV shows, and it is just another road. But of course you always think and feel things. I don't see Marlon next to me. I don't feel Jermaine. I don't, you know.
Sure.
A colourful piece, and with that we turn you over to our guest reporter, Molly Meldrum.
All right.
Backstage with Michael Jackson, as close to his private world as you could ever hope to get. People are always asking about the man behind the myth. But in this electric moment, is there really any difference? If you want to find out more about the real Michael Jackson, you start here, at his magical launching pad, and let yourself be part of the illusion. A high-voltage performance wired up to another world. The man they call Pop's Peter Pan is in full flight. If there was ever a pure entertainment machine, you're watching it. Watching him on stage and the power of his performance, I remembered the shy kid I interviewed in New York for Countdown in 1977.
Do you regret having to keep up with the schoolwork?
No, I enjoy it. I love to read and learn and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, over in Australia, we've seen you on many of the big shows, like the big music awards and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
And your little sister's been on a few
Oh,
of them.
yeah.
She's a funky little sister.
She is funky.
She's amazing.
Even back then, he'd already come such a long way. The son of a crane driver from industrial America, tripping the light fantastic when his friends were struggling in school plays, the boy who was born to sing knew nothing but the stage. At the time I talked to him, he was getting ready to rock with you. Years and tens of millions of records after, the song remains the same, but the singer has become far more elusive.
Come on, my girl, rock with me, good morning.
Waiting in a Tokyo hotel room, I still can't quite believe that of all the world's press, Michael's agreed to talk to me again. His first major TV interview this decade.
Nice to see you again.
But you don't get this deep inside the fortress without conditions. Strict limits on time, even the number of questions. I took Michael back to our interview all those years ago.
You had a lot of aspirations at that time, a lot of dreams. Would it be fair to say that a lot of those dreams over the last 10 years, because it was in 1977 that interview, have come true for you?
Most of my dreams seem to come true, and I'm so thankful that they do. I don't know over what period of time, but I have lots of dreams, and they usually come true, and I'm so glad.
$60,000 fans on a warm September night watch Michael set music alight. Tonight it's Tokyo. An inkling of things to come when his Magical Mystery World Tour hits Australia in November. Even if his music is not your style, few can resist the Lord of the Dance.
I dance a lot anyway. I've always loved to dance. When I was just real little, I used to watch Sammy Davis, Fred Astaire, and James Brown, and just dancing about the house. So I don't remember not dancing.